right, guys, we are here and we're going to talk about a subject that me and my best friend Talia, who's here with me today, are pretty well versed in.
Yeah.
And that is narcissism. So let's just go into what truly defines a narcissist. This word is passed around so much. I feel like everyone now, when they don't like somebody, they're like, oh my God, they're a narcissist. So if we're going to get into the psychology of this, the textbook definition of a narcissist is a person with an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. The lack of empathy is what I would say distinguishes a cocky, confident person or a conceited person to like truly a sociopath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So let's talk about how it develops. There's a few different concepts here and factors that come into play. So with narcissistic personality disorder, there's the parent-child relationship, and there's a cultural aspect, and then there's genetic predisposition. The parent-child aspect makes a big difference here, and it comes from either a parent that is too much admiring of their kid, or there's an over excess of criticism. And what I have seen, like particularly in my culture, being Persian, is mama's boys are, and this is just a general rule, but mama's boys are a breeding ground for narcissists. There's literally a term in Farsi called dudul tala, which means golden penis. And like that's how a lot of these moms are coming in and treating their sons, is that they can do no wrong. And it's different from like normal parenting where you would think, okay, it's good to give your kid, admiration and acknowledge them, but this is different. This is like they're not achieving anything and you are just telling them that they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Or it comes from this wound of no one gave me attention growing up, so I'm going to go out into the world and demand it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it's really important, like as we both know, having experienced this firsthand, to draw this line between what like a healthy relationship looks like with your mom. Like we love and we seek and we want love for your mother and respect for your mother and putting family first. We want all that. That's good. But there is a difference between that healthy love between a mother and a son and what like a mama's boy is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this component too, it's like, it makes it so hard for the person that's going to end up with that relationship, because now they're also with a narcissist, but then there's a parent figure that's enabling their behavior.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what does being on the receiving end of a narcissist look like?
It's loaded, because I think there's so much, taking a step back and like analyzing who you were in that relationship and who you became when you experienced all that. Like that's such a loaded question. Some of the things, or one of the biggest things that I noticed or I experienced, and I've watched my friends experience, is this love bombing and retreat immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once they got you.
Yeah. So it's the highest of highs. And, that's what draws you in. You're like, this is so good. And then like, boom, punishment. And so like that discrepancy alone is like one of the biggest things that I'd say is a red flag when you're in a narcissistic relationship.
Yeah. And then the biggest thing is there's this word that comes up all the time, and it's gaslighting.
Yeah.
And I think people think gaslighting is just somebody invalidating your feelings. No. Gaslighting is someone actually making you question your sanity, which is why narcissistic relationships can become so abusive.
Yeah.
When a narcissist is gaslighting you, they're telling you that the sky is green, when like you can clearly see that the sky is blue, but they tell you it and they believe it so much themselves that you start to question the sanity. Like, oh, wait, maybe the sky is green.
Yeah.
And so that can feel really difficult. And then you put into the fact that most narcissists are really charming. That's how they reel you in.
Yeah.
And so with that, it's like they're so charming to the rest of the world and not to you. So then what happens is you start to blame yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I don't get it. They're being nice to everyone but me. So maybe I need to change the way that I'm behaving.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of like questioning yourself, and you spiral because of it. You know, you lose sight of all of these, like the rationale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also walking on eggshells constantly.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
You are so fearful of upsetting this person because of that high and the low and the gaslighting and the love bombing, that every move you make, everything you say to them, every plan you make, you are so critical in how you're going to type a sentence to them, the tone of voice you're using, everything you do, you're walking on eggshells with this person.
Yeah. It almost becomes this like sick game of how am I going to get this person who loved me so much just a few months ago to love me again. Yeah. And like, so the silent treatment is a really big. Yeah, I see you deep breathing, girl. Yeah. The silent treatment is a really big tactic that a narcissist will also use, because what happens in that silence is the person, the victim, wants to become louder. And then this is where the idea of reactive abuse comes in, is when the victim finally starts to say, this is enough. And so they may be screaming or yelling. And then the narcissist is like, there you go. See? Yeah. You're crazy.
You were the problem all along. And that like silent treatment, like that is the punishment that we brought up earlier. I can recount, you know, not responding to a text message within like a 5-minute allotted window. And because I missed that window, because I was working, not because I ignored it or because like my hands were tied doing something, I was punished. And I would be ignored for 5 hours, 7 hours, knowing like we all have our phones on us at all times, you know, where like it was a conscious effort to punish me for not responding to this person on time.
Yeah. And that's also the part of, you know, the narcissist, which is like, oh, you're not going to obey me. My charm isn't working on you. You're not going to treat me the way I've managed to manipulate everybody around me. Like that's where they get so hurt.
Yeah.
And then, the punishment comes through.
It's because they were pedestaled, you know, like you can't meet their standard that like they set for themselves. And so if you're not going to meet that, like.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it goes on to this idea of like how being with a narcissist really changes you.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think for me, this quote always comes to mind when I think about toxic relationships, but specifically with somebody like a narcissist, is that ugly people bring out the ugly in you. And like, oh, that really sits with me because I'm like, I don't even know who I was in that time in my life. Like, I was emotional. I would yell. All these things that like I've never experienced with anybody I've ever been with, except for the narcissist.
Yeah.
Like that makes you feel shitty about yourself.
Yeah. You definitely lose sight of your morals and your values and the standards that like you should and have always held yourself to. That's out the door because this person they're changing your thought process. They're changing what you see as your worth. It's really a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And I think in my personal experience, but also experience I see with many of my clients that have been with narcissists, is that you go into your next relationship and there's a lot of hardship in trying to trust somebody. Like, are they going to stay this way? Is this love bombing, or are they actually a good person? Or are they treating me well? I think that a lot of people struggle with, you know, coming out of this dynamic with that person. And then to, you know, make it even harder, it's like when you break up with a narcissist, they're going to make your life living hell.
Yeah.
They're going to try.
Yeah.
They're going to try to go to anyone that they can who will listen. And this is where they call the smear campaign of trying to get to people before you do, so that people don't know the truth about how they treated you or what they did. And so it makes it really scary too, of like, how do I leave in a situation where I'm constantly being made to feel like I did that. I did this to myself.
Yeah. No, it's scary to leave too, because they've belittled you so much in that relationship that you don't think that there's anything better out there. Like you're stuck in that. That's what it looks like to be on this receiving end, is that you're, there's no exit strategy. There is no exit, because when you do, or if you get the courage to up and leave, they've convinced you that what's waiting out there is rock bottom. But you're in rock bottom. You don't know it. But like, they're telling you, no, out there is worse, sweetie. Like, stick with me.
Oh my God. Like, my ex literally textbook said this to me. It's an honor to date me. And if you want to be treated like a woman, you should start acting like a woman.
It's like, it's like insane.
And it's also this like that's the grandiosity of it's an honor to date me. Yeah. And then it comes into this like, if you want to be treated like a woman, you should act like a woman. So again, it's all this blame, the blame of like, you act this way. And so then why do people stay in relationships with narcissists? Because they feel like there is something to be fixed. Yeah. If I just fix this about myself. I mean, it got to such a like crazy point for me where I was like, oh, if my parents weren't from the valley, the fucking valley, as opposed to Beverly Hills, he would treat me better. Like that, that's how insane the relationship made me.
There's so much self-blame. And it's not only like blaming yourself, it's blaming your upbringing. It's blaming, your family, things so out of your control. Like, you blame.
Yeah. And I think, too, a really big part of this is, how it affects your friendships.
Yeah.
I feel like you can speak on that.
Yeah. I was so enthralled with my ex at the time, the narcissistic person I was dating, that I lost sight of what, like, the value was in all my other friendships. I made my world his world. And it took like a shaking from a good friend to be like, this is crazy. Like, I've now firsthand witnessed the mistreatment from this person to you. How are you in this relationship? How are you staying?
Yeah.
And you like, once you realize what's at risk of losing because of this person, only then do you kind of gain like sight of reality, and you can get shaken off.
Yeah. And it's really scary to be the friend in that situation, because like something me and you always do, which isn't like our best trait, is we're like, I think we're so afraid of losing each other that when we're in a situation with like you dating somebody that I really don't like because of how they treat you, vice versa. We're so afraid. This is a me and you thing, but we're so afraid to say something in fear of like
straining our relationship.
But looking back, I kind of do wish someone in my position screamed at me, because it was like, and I think a lot of people experience this, but with a narcissist, you don't leave until it blows up, usually.
Yeah.
Right? It just blows up in your face that you're like, okay, I enough is enough and I have to walk away. But there's so many like years and times and memories of things that like could have been the time to be like, all right, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So I actually think, the friend that told you that was really brave.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like, hats off to her, because I don't think that I would have walked away at that point. Like it was bad, but there was room for it to get unrecoverably bad. Yeah. And I think that she was that doorstop for me, thank God, and helped me, pick my head up and leave before it was too late.
Yeah. I think too, it's a good thing to talk about of how do you support someone who you know is in a relationship with a narcissist? Like, what would you have wanted besides, just being told like it's me or them? Like, what did you need to hear in that moment?
Personally, what woke me up was the threat, like the audible threat of, it's me, it's your friends, or it's this person.
Yeah.
And like, she wasn't bluffing at the time. She was like, we don't want to be around him. So as long as he's by your side and as long as you're bringing him around, count us out. And, these are friendships, like you and I go back 20-something years. The thought of losing that friendship, like that's an unimaginable pain that so outweighed losing this person who isn't good to me and isn't nice to me.
Yeah.
And so it was the reality of, hey, like, pick now. Who's it going to be? These lifelong friends, healthy, happy relationships, or this awful one that got me to like step away.
Yeah. And, not everyone has that will, which is, I think, is why people get stuck in narcissistic relationships, because they really don't feel like they have a choice. And the narcissist also, something that they're really special at is making you feel like everyone is against you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember in my relationship with the narcissist, if someone wanted to hang out with me, like someone new, he would make up something about them. Like, oh, they shit talked to you last year. Like, this person didn't even know me last year. Yeah. But I somehow believed it. And so it's like this isolation too. I think in your case, like, you're somebody that really, really values your friends. And so that may have felt like such a clear choice. But then there's other people that choice isn't coming to them so easily. And then they actually end up in a more isolated situation of like, okay, it's just me and the narcissist now. And that can be really scary, which is why I think going to a therapist in times like this is so important.
Yeah.
Because, they can hold that.
100%. I think sometimes too, like, thankfully I was able to walk away. Thankfully you were too. But a narcissist can weed out those relationships slowly.
Yeah.
And, you might not even realize it's happening. So when the time comes that you do muster up that courage to walk away, what are you walking away to? Like that one friend that's left?
Mm-hmm.
Then it doesn't look so good. You're not going back to that beautiful, strong, healthy friend group that you once had because he's whittled away at it over time. You have one friend that shook you, but it's suddenly...
Yeah, life is not the same.
Yeah.
Before you dated the narcissist and after.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite question to ask on all my podcasts, but how do we cope?
I think that I found a lot of avenues that helped for me. Mm-hmm. Getting out of it and staying out of it was the most important for me. And so I really leaned heavily on my friends to help fill that void of time and energy spent fueling that unhealthy relationship. Mm-hmm. So all the time that I used to devote to him, I'd channel back into healthy avenues. That was for myself. That was working out again. That was cooking the meals I wanted to eat again because I wasn't working on someone else's schedule in fear of bothering them, And so I really, really leaned on filling that time with friends.
Yeah. Your support system leaving a narcissistic relationship is so important because the reality is the narcissist is going to come back.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard and why a lot of these relationships are so long-winded is because they're going to come back.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a game for them of, wow, how horrible can I treat this person? And then try and reel them back in.
Yeah.
And so I think you need friends. And those are really when like the friends have to step up and be like, yo, not again.
Yeah, it's done.
And also reminding you of who you are because the narcissist tends to give you your whole identity. And like that you're worthless or you're not good enough or you deserve this treatment. And so to have people in your life that are constantly reminding you of that. And like this sounds really simple, but block.
You have to block.
Like they have to be so blocked. I mean, like I'm talking like blocked on social media, but also like no eye contact, because that is like a soulless person. And I'm not saying this to sound so intense. It's a personality disorder, which is why I say people can't keep throwing around this word of like, oh my God, they're a narcissist. They're a narcissist. No. There is a very big difference between someone who is cocky and someone who's a narcissist. And that brings me back to this point of the lack of empathy.
Yeah.
They will look at you broken and feel nothing. And so you need to really like completely block that person out of your life. Like I can't even make eye contact.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And I was so regimented about the blocking that I was like, hey, best friend, block him.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't want him to have a window into my life and my
totally,
doings and my successes.
Find that way.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, you know, whether I dated people after the fact or like, you know, my family, like family that they never even talked to, all of a sudden they're friends now and they're commenting on their stuff. Like anything to get under your skin is what the narcissist will do. Yeah. And this one point that I really want to make, and I talk about this a lot because I'm a therapist, but I remember at the time of being in a relationship with a narcissist, the therapist I was seeing at the time was so afraid to tell me like, this is toxic. And yes, sometimes as therapists, our job is to listen. Our job is to guide you and hear you out. But I also am a really big advocate for like, we need to tell people when something is toxic.
Yeah. And
I really try to do that for my clients now. When I see something's not working, I'm like, what are you doing? Is this what you deserve? And why? Why do you feel like you deserve that? And I think, you know, people in the therapy field have to do a better job at being honest with our clients. So, you know, that's also to say, if you do find the right therapist, shout out to my therapist, love her. But if you do find the right therapist, they're going to also be a really big backbone for you in getting out of this relationship.
Yeah. Support is everything.
Yeah. All right, guys, we could probably talk about this for hours, and I'm sure we'll get juicier into it in future episodes, but I just wanted to thank you so much, Tal. I know this is not an easy subject to talk about, but I'm sure we'll dive back in.
As we do.
Yeah, always. There's always juicier things to talk about. And if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, and by the way, this doesn't always have to be romantic. For the purposes of this episode, we're talking about romantic relationships, but narcissists can show up in every different type of dynamic. Really seek help, lean on your community, and we're here to cope with you. Hey everyone, welcome to How We Cope Podcast, a podcast dedicated to elevating your life by your host, Nicole and Talia. This podcast is sponsored by Culver City Chevrolet, where you can lease a Chevy Equinox for $189 a month. Mention your subscriber of How We Cope Podcast to unlock the special deal.